Ice cream begins here, not in a factory, but on farmland.
Before milking, hygiene matters. Any contamination introduced here will travel through the entire system.
Fresh milk exits the animal warm. From this moment, bacterial activity begins immediately.
Milk must remain sealed. Exposure to air or surfaces accelerates spoilage that no factory can undo. Cooling slows bacterial growth, but it does not stop it.
Time is now the enemy. If cooling is delayed or uneven, enzymes activate. Flavor damage starts here too. Before the milk ever reaches a factory, its fate is already partially decided.
Once milk is collected, it enters on-farm storage. From this moment on, quality slowly declines with time.
Cooling does not preserve freshness, it only slows decay. Bacteria remain alive, just moving more slowly. Milk is gently agitated to prevent fat separation. Over-agitation damages structure. Every hour in storage changes the milk slightly. These changes are chemical fine and permanent. Sampling checks acidity and microbial growth. Results decide how much stress later processing must absorb.
Even small temperature rises accelerate spoilage. Once it's starty, nothing downstream can reverse it.
By the time milk leaves the farm, its future texture, flavor, and stability are already partly decided. Milk must leave the farm quickly. Transport does not improve quality. It only tries to preserve what remains. The system stays closed. Air exposure here accelerates oxidation and bacterial growth. Pumping adds movement. Excess agitation damages fat structure before processing even begins. Once sealed, nothing can be adjusted. Temperature control becomes the only defense.
Distance introduces time. Time introduces risk.
Even brief temperature rises accelerate microbial activity. Damage here remains invisible until freezing.
By the time milk reaches the plant, its quality is already aging. The factory can only work.
This is the factory's first and only chance to stop bad milk. Everything downstream depends on this decision.
The milk never touches open air. Contamination here would spread instantly through the plant. Before a single drop enters production, samples are taken. Chemistry and biology are checked immediately. Bacterial load and acidity reveal what cooling and transport have already done. Fat and protein levels decide texture long before freezing ever begins. If milk fails here, it is rejected. Once accepted, the factory owns every consequence. Only approved milk moves forward. From this point on, mistakes multiply instead of stopping.
Once milk is accepted, the factory begins adjusting chemistry deliberately. This is where ice cream stops being raw milk. Centrifugal separation isolates cream. Fat content will now be rebuilt to exact specifications. Fat ratios control richness and melting. Too much fat feels greasy. Too little creates ice. Proteins slowly hydrate. This quiet reaction determines how well the ice cream will hold air. Sensors verify chemistry continuously. Once the mix moves forward, correction becomes impossible. This balanced mix looks unchanged of clam, but its future texture is already set. With chemistry defined, heat becomes the next risk.
Pasteurization is not about flavor. It is about survival, removing everything that cannot be allowed to live.
Milk is heated rapidly. Temperature and time are balanced to kill bacteria. Heat alone is not enough. Milk must stay hot for a precise duration. No shorter, no longer. Enzymes that cause spoilage are neutralized here. If they survive, texture will break down later. Once heated, milk must be cooled immediately. Lingering warmth allows damage without benefit. Sensors confirm that heat exposure was sufficient. If not, the entire batch is rejected. From this point on, milk is safe torque, but still unstable. Chemistry must now be built carefully.
With biology removed, the factory now builds ice cream on purpose. This is where texture is designed, not discovered. Sugar does more than sweeten. It controls how cold ice cream can get before it turns solid. Stabilizers limit ice crystal growth. Without them, freezing creates grain instead of smoothness. Emulsifiers keep fat evenly distributed. If fat separates later, texture collapses during melting. Mixing must be thorough but controlled. Incomplete blending guarantees uneven freezing later. Sensors confirm the chemistry is correct. Once freezing begins, this balance cannot be adjusted.
The mix looks finished amain, but it is still fragile. Pressure will now force structure into it.
Homogenization is where structure is forced into the mix. From this point on, fat behavior is locked. Extreme pressure is applied. The goal is not speed, effort. It is controlled destruction.
Large fat droplets are shattered into microscopic particles. This prevents separation during freezing and melting. Once broken down, fat can no longer regroup. Texture from here is permanent.
Pressure generates heat. If temperature rises here, proteins are damaged before freezing even begins.
Sensors confirm the structure is uniform. No later process can fix uneven fat distribution. The mix now looks finished, wrenches, but chemistry still needs time to settle.
After pressure, the mix must rest. Aging is where forced structure is allowed to stabilize.
The mix is held cold. Too warm, and bacteria reactivate. Too cold, gentle movement prevents separation. Aggressive motion would undo everything built so far. Proteins slowly hydrate. This quiet reaction determines how well the ice cream will hold air.
Stabilizers begin working here to will, not during freezing. Skipping aging guarantees coarse texture later. Time matters as much as temperature. Shortening this step cannot be corrected downstream.
Once the mix leaves aging, chemistry is finished. Freezing will now expose every decision made.
This is the point of no return. Once freezing begins, nothing can be fixed.
Heat is removed fast. The speed of freezing determines ice crystal size. Air is added under pressure. This step decides lightness, density, and mouthfeel.
Proteins slowly hydrate. This quiet reaction determines how well the ice cream will hold air.
Scrapers prevent ice from growing uncontrollably. If they fail, texture fails with them. What leaves the freezer already contains the final texture. Hardening will only lock it in.
From this moment forward, the ice cream can only be shaped and exhaled, not improved.
After freezing, the structure is fragile. Flavor can now be added through, but only carefully. Flavors are added after freezing begins to protect aroma. Added too early, they evaporate.
Ribbons must flow at the same temperature as the base. Any mismatch cracks the frozen structure.
Solid inclusions are temperature matched. Warm pieces cause melting. Cold pieces shatter structure. Mixing here is gentle. Aggressive motion would destroy the texture created during freezing. Sensors conform even distribution. Uneven flavor is a permanent defect.
Once identity is added, form becomes the next risk.
At this stage, the structure is soft but fixed. The factory can shape it, but cannot strengthen it.
Extrusion forces fragile ice cream into shape. Any hesitation causes collapse or air loss. Cutting must match extrusion speed. Mistiming damages edges that will never recover.
Cone filling requires balance. Too fast creates voids. Too slow causes melting. Tubs reveal surface defects immediately. Leveling hides nothing. Only shape is inspected here. Internal flaws remain invisible.
From here on, movement stops.
Cold will lock everything permanently.
Hardening is not optional. This is where ice crystal growth must stop immediately.
Extremely cold air removes heat.
If cooling is slow, crystals expand. Once they grow, texture is ruined permanently. Speed matters. Staying too long or moving too fast both cause damage. Hardening must lock shape without stress. Deformation here cannot be hidden. Only fully hardened products are allowed forward. Anything warmer is rejected.
At this moment, texture is frozen forever.
By the time packaging begins, the ice cream is finished. Nothing here can make it better.
Packaging exists for one reason, tunic, to isolate frozen quality from heat, air, and moisture.
Handling must remain cold and clean. Even brief warming causes surface damage.
Seals lock out oxygen and moisture. A weak seal destroys shelf life silently.
Every seal is checked. Failures here cannot be repaired, only removed. Secondary packaging adds protection during transport, puidin, not quality. Once packaged, the only remaining risk is temperature.
Once stored, ice cream waits. Nothing improves here. Damage only accumulates.
Every transfer risks temperature rise. Even minutes matter. Cold chain failure rarely happens once. It happens in small, repeated exposures.
At retail, temperature discipline becomes inconsistent a fourth, and damage quietly continues.
Repeated thawing and refreezing grows ice crystals invisibly.
When ice cream melts, it tells the truth about every step before it.
Ice cream never fails at the freezer. It fails where mistakes were made days earlier.